Hi guys, so hopefully you can hear me. It's a weekend, so the traffic's especially loud behind my house. I live pretty much right in the center of a busy town in Southern California, so here we are. I just want to show you kind of a follow-up on these garden beds. I had made them to be gopher proof. If you guys remember, I had used just wood that literally whatever size Home Depot has, like if that's 12 feet long, that's fine. I think it's 10 by 12. I don't think these are 12 by 12, like 12 inches by 12 feet. I think these are 10 by 12. And then, you know, 2 pieces of that. And then the second piece, or third piece, I just had them cut right in half. So basically 12 by 6. And I have 2 beds just like that. I'll show you the third one in just a minute. It's on the other side of the house. But I did want to report that it's been a year we've had these in basically. No kind of infiltration by gophers, no problem. I had nothing. They hardly, well, this was funny. I hardly ever see gopher holes anyway on this side of the lawn. I have a, what is that, Oro Blanco grapefruit ready to be installed. We had a stump removed, and I told the guy to leave a hole because I'm going to plant something in there, but then he also told me that these palm trees are the worst. And they are. I mean, obviously they need to be trimmed, but look how tall that thing is. So I'm going to get it removed for just about $2,000. Can you believe that? For 2 of them. There's another one on the other side of the house, but and then in that place I'm gonna put in my grapefruit, possibly my pomegranates. I have these little guys. It's a little dwarf peach, and then a dwarf nectarine. So there's plenty of things that are gonna go in those spots, but that just drives me, I'm like, I can't believe it. But we're gonna be here forever. Hopefully this is our forever home, so it's worth ripping those things out and getting the stump removed and everything so I can actually put something in that spot. I think a lot of times what happens is people cut trees back and they don't remove the stump, and then you can't use the space. So these people, for that price, they're gonna remove the whole of the tree and then remove the stump, just like they did big old hole that they left there, which is awesome. Oh, what was there before in that same hole right there was a ficus that is kind of like this thing, but it was trained as a bush, and it was miserable. My husband had cut it back, and we're like, yeah, we can get rid of this thing. There was no way. Oh my gosh, it was so hard. I think they call it ficus. I can't remember. But it's the worst tree in the world, and I can't believe my neighbor has like 3 of them. Ours was like a bush. It's horrible. Anyway, no kind of infiltration by gophers. Everything grew great. We had great cucumbers here, zucchini. I mean, I did follow up to you guys. We had tomatoes that made it through the wintertime without any kind of damage or really being used up or messed up, but we pulled them out anyway because we want fresh ones. But that's an early girl, and she has even tomatoes that she was putting out during the winter and now still. So I'm like, oh, I should probably fertilize her because she does have tomatoes. Some of them were bigger than what she made in the summer anyway, so she's doing okay. So we still have beets, seeds that we planted probably last May. And we're already in February, and I never pulled them, but they look so pretty. I'm like, just leave them there, who cares? I know they're taking up space for no reason, but anyway, kale that is ridiculous, out of control. So yeah, so I wanted to do this video just to follow up to show you that it was great. They worked out really well. So what we're gonna do at the end of this video is I'll show you, I'll come back. We're gonna pull away all the mulch that's on top. We're gonna replenish the beds, because sometimes when you pull out tomatoes, especially, the root system goes out really kind of, you know, feeder roots all over. And they took out so much of the dirt with them, and I would try to pound it out, and still. And even at that, we hadn't really filled up these beds last year when we did this, because by the end of the thing, it took like, each one of these took so many cubic feet of Kellogg's. We like to use Kellogg's raised bed and potting mix, that it was just really expensive. So they weren't super full anyway to begin with. So we are going to top them off and then just leave the mulch off to the side until we decide what we're going to plant back, which I already know what that is. We have to go buy them. So when you come back, it'll look nice and fresh. There's one other project I do want to show you guys that we're going to be doing, and I'll show you that real quick just because it's easy. Ooh, passion fruit vines. That need to get in. I'm actually doing that too today. It's been rainy, but now that the sun is out, might as well get it done. I'm going to make like an area over here. So basically, that's the other garden bed. And right now there's some kohlrabi growing in there, which only really took off when it started getting cold. So apparently the package was wrong when it was told me I can plant it when I did. Actually, let me walk over there. I have all these pots, and pretty much they're all figs, fig rooting, fig cuttings that I rooted. They look better at the end of last season, you know, but they're coming back. This one never fell asleep. He had these green leaves and they're there, and I'm like, that is crazy. He is just going, so hopefully he's okay, because they're supposed to fall off, you know, all the leaves. They're supposed to, that green growth should be brown by now, lignated, or what do they call it? Like this one, you know, this all came out last season, and then now it's gonna grow taller in the green growth. and the old part should get some figs on the old wood. That's the Breba crop, and then the new stuff will get the new figs in the fall on the green growth. So I don't know what this is gonna do. To be honest, she's crazy. But everyone else is kind of waking up. Look at this. Little leaves are starting to come out. Even these little tiny guys. But this white stuff is Ivy Organics 3-in-1 paint guard that you can watch them here on YouTube. Professor Melky, I guess, or Mr. Melky, he's awesome. I love him. But look at the little leaves. So I just painted them with that white stuff so it looks kind of funky. So I have all these little guys, but I don't really like the look of this. And I was even thinking about doing another garden bed here. A raised garden bed. These have some old guys that need to be done away with for new plants. But let me show you my kohlrabi. If you don't know what kohlrabi is, it's this cool vegetable. Is it a brassica? I don't know, because like it has all this, and I don't even know if this stuff's edible. But whenever I buy them at farmers market, it's already kind of peeled away. Like all this stuff is already cut off. And basically, you don't really eat the rind, but you can cut into it kind of like a jicama. And I just put tahini on it and eat it raw. It's really good. It doesn't taste like jicama, but I'm just kind of giving you an example of kind of like not even the texture of jicama, I don't know, but that's what it reminds me of. But anyway, so I want to get some of these in different pots, but I also want to get them off the floor so that there's two levels, right? So like there's a higher level in the back and then some at the bottom. I also thought it might be cute if there was like a little seating area for the kids, but I did buy this wood for it, and I don't think it's very splinter free, so I think this is just going to be a less than $40 project to get some levels in this area here. I could do 2 raised beds, like a garden bed and then another one over it, which would be really cute, maybe next year. This was kind of an expensive thing I want to try out. So basically, I have 3 of these posts that came from Home Depot. They were like $9, almost 10 bucks each. So I got 3, they're 8 feet long. They're 4-inch squares, right? All the stuff we need for our projects right now. I'm sorry, it just rained and then we dumped this out and it rained again. That's how hard it rained in about 15 minutes. Left a lot of liquid here, or water, should I say. Cinder blocks. I'm going to use these cinder blocks to basically just slide those pieces of wood in. And so I'll show you what this is going to look like. It shouldn't take too long. I'm going to remove, obviously, those wood chips. Move those out of the way. Get this settled in real well. I did buy caulking that is for cement or these kind of products, just to kind of give us some more caulking. My husband's not a fan of that. He's like, we glue those things together, I'm never going to be able to move it again. I was like, well, I think you can probably pop them or like wedge them. You just want something in there to kind of hold on to it right now, because they can move. So there's different ways you can configure this. People would make them with like cushions, with a backrest, the whole thing. I'm just trying to make like a shelving unit basically for these pots. So I think I'm going to do it in this configuration, that one. So basically these cinder blocks now are made so that you can slide in a piece of wood right here, like if you're going to make some kind of garden bed, but that's not what I got it for. So this is going to face down later. And I try to get the ones that didn't have that. See how this bottom one doesn't have anything that has to do with those notches? This one does have a notch, but I don't want it to. And then this one does have a notch. I thought I picked out the ones that didn't have notches, but I just realized my husband grabbed the last 3 today because I brought only 6 yesterday. And he got all the ones with notches, apparently. So that's fine. We'll just leave it. But I'm going to configure it this way because if it's 3 just standing up tall, that's more wobble. So I figure it's sturdier having 2 on top of each other, 2 cinder blocks. These are only $1 at Home Depot, guys. And then the one in the front. So when you look at it, and I'll show you the pictures, obviously, or when we get to it. From the front, all you see is that solid piece. So I thought that was just kind of a nicer look. We'll see what happens. I mean, either way, you're going to look at it from the front and have that solid piece. But it just feels sturdier this way. So I went back and got 3 more because I have these 3. We're going to put one slot, obviously, to another set of 3. And then I thought it's kind of long. Maybe it needs some more support. So I went and got another 3 to put in the middle. We will see if we need it. I repotted all my figs a couple weeks ago. I put it on Instagram. And I have 1 more to go. I actually bought the pot for it. It's in the garage. This little gal, she's back here and just kind of hanging out. She needs to get in her pot. And they're all exactly the same. I bought them... basically I've had my trees. So this year I'm like, I'm not buying any more trees, which I did, buy a couple more trees, but no more figs. Except for the ones I'm growing over there, right? I need to get those guys big and healthy. They all look really cool in their own pots that are all exactly the same. So I have them lined up here, and hopefully once they get big enough, they'll put some shade in here too, which is really sweet. But last year they looked so pretty out here. Whenever I wake up in the morning, I look out here and I see all my figs and they're all beautiful and green. So pretty cool. So I'm gonna work on this with my husband. I would record it, but it's just not the type of thing I do. It's not that complicated. I'm just making them just in this figure, slide the wood in, you know, put the other ones and make sure the wood is in the little spots there. So when we come back, hopefully that project will be done. Okay guys, so this is actually a couple days later because I wanted to do some rearranging here, but came out pretty good. So yeah, so what I did was I did the same setup I showed you guys. I was going to do the 2 cinder blocks laying on top of each other, and then the one in front standing up to get the 3 bars in there. And, you know, you can check out your wood. Like this one right here, it's kind of funny. I don't think it's the cement, the cinder blocks, but you see how it's kind of tilted, that first one? But on the other side, it looks perfectly straight. So I did put down a little dirt from another part of the garden. We had some trees, like that big old hole I showed you guys. Since that dirt was nice and soft, I laid that first so that we could sandwich this in there. But you can get sand or something, or not do it at all, as long as it's nice and straight, right? I did use that caulking cement supposedly for concrete, and just a little bit because it was so hard to get out. Oh my gosh, it was ridiculous. So not too much. I don't even think it's really holding it together. Like I said, my husband was like, I don't think we need to stick that together because if I try to move this later, and I said I think you can pry it, but we'll see. So I went to the garden center and just got some little pretty flowers. Actually got that really pretty purple, supposedly the shades on here right now is called purple shamrock or something, or shamrock, not shamrock, wait, what is it? Yeah, purple shamrock. And it has little flowers. So the little flowers aren't opening yet, so I'm curious to see them. In the picture they don't really show the flowers too well, but what's cool is like they're so open right now, and later when the sun hits it they kind of close down, and it's really a pretty effect. And then I got these carnations that I thought I could rip up into 2 because it's really big. When I went to do that, I was like, oh no, that's 1 plant, or something is going on with that. So I totally ripped up its roots. So hopefully it looks like it's doing okay, but this was like yesterday, so it might start looking worse for the wear. And I put another one in here. So what I did with that is all I did was the extra cinder blocks. So you can see I didn't really need one in the middle for more support. It was just fine. So all I did was turn them over, and basically the 2 holes, this isn't even glued down, I just set it on top. So it has 2 little holes, 1 and 2. And now I put little plants in there. You can actually sit these 2 up so that they're standing up and turned the way these are, and put 2 more slats in the back if you want it to look like an actual bench, right? But it's a little much. I think we're good with what we have here. Got my little baby figs all in here. I'll probably put some kind of, I don't know what, in that pot. Those pots work really well. I actually got those at Walmart. And my blueberries are growing in. They love them. It's because you can actually see the water level. I have other pots, like the one that's hiding back there, where you can't see what's going on underneath. Supposedly it's a self-watering pot, but it leaves everything so wet. It's disgusting. Like, it just kills whatever's in there. It totally wets the feet. And those are also, no, those are from Home Depot. So these are from Walmart. It says plant spa. So you can water, I always water on top, but you can put the water at the bottom and it sucks it up. However you like to water them. But what I like about those is that when it rains and I can see there's so much water, all I do is tilt it. Just tilt it a little bit and it comes right out. So the other one, it does not come out, and they're disgusting. I mean, the reason I say this is because when there's a lot of water, I try to tip the whole thing and it smells like a sewer, literally, because whatever's in there is just rotting. It's so bad. But anyway, it looks pretty. I really like the way it came out. So I ended up getting some little, I went back to get another carnation. They don't have that same burgundy red color. So I'm like, so this is just some kind of color spot that costs like $1.99. It's gonna die soon, I'm sure. But I thought it was pretty for pictures. So we have that. I think it looks great. It looks really nice with the rest of the garden as I'm getting things cleaned up and ready for this season. So let's go over to the cleaned up vegetable beds and check those out. Okay guys, so I've been waiting actually a couple weeks to get this part done. I'll just splice in here what's going on. In the meantime, we've potted up our thing called passion fruits, and we're trying to train them up this arbor that we just put in with a little bench because the kids love seating. I put some rocks. Obviously we're still working on this right now, so it's a little bit of a mess, but I just want to show you this is the kind of stuff that we add in the raised bed and potting mix. Usually we add a little bit more perlite and vermiculite to it too, and kind of mix it in as we dump it. We add some more of those 2 things and we kind of mix it in. But there's plenty of that underneath, so I don't think we need to amend this bag. But when we initially filled these beds, that's what we did. So it was like almost a third, maybe half of the potting soil and the other half was vermiculite and perlite. But so right now all I did was top off the areas that were really low, and if you recall at the beginning of the video, of soil, especially when we pulled out the tomatoes. Oh my gosh, they took like a big old clump of soil and everything with them. So obviously we're still working. I pulled all these beets that we never even ate, and they just sat over the winter. So I mean, we're gonna test them out to see if they're woody, because if they're not woody, then we'll eat them, but I have a feeling they're kind of old. But so we left a couple things in, like this little tomato that was barely going, and this early girl that overwintered and she's doing great. She looks not too good right now, but we'll trim her up a little bit. And then this lavender. But what we're gonna do now is go ahead and plant all the different things we brought. Let me show you some of those things. And what we do in a little planting hole, we make a little hole, we add in some worm castings. This is one that I have right now, but there's lots of different brands of them. And there's plenty of earthworms in here right now, and we're pulling weeds and doing all that. Earthworms everywhere. So I think we're gonna be okay either way. But we add a little bit of that and add a little bit of vegetable and what's it called? Oh, look at my peaches and my nectarines. Looks so pretty. What's this stuff called? Fertilizer. But it's an organic fertilizer. Where did I leave it? I don't know where I put it right now. I brought it over here. Oh well. So we have salad mixes. These are really good, and these lasted us until we were just like tired of them. They started bolting, basically what was happening in the summertime, these two. So they lasted a good 5 or 6 months before we had to just pull them and be done with it. And each one of these will make a huge salad. So what we do is we just come and every day pick off the lettuces that we want. You don't wait to make a head, right? I don't even think it would make a head of lettuce in Southern California. I don't know, maybe it will, but we don't do that. We just come to it, pick off some leaves, keep eating them. And the first thing I do at the beginning of the season, like right now after we plant them, I will also spray them with spinosad, just so nothing comes up and eats them later. And that's an organic pest repellent kind of thing. I do buy just the spray bottle. I think it's Dr. John, I don't know, it looks like a guy wearing like a Havana hat, I don't know. And then we have some tomatoes and other things we'll plant, some kale. Oh, I should have shown you the kale that we had. It was ridiculous. We just pulled it out because it started bolting after a year, basically. And it goes crazy. And if your kale starts getting really eaten up and it looks horrible, just cut it back. I'm not kidding you. Leave just the stalk. All the way back to like just this. Cut everything off, even if it's this big, right? And within a few weeks, it's gonna start sprouting out the sides, and I'll show you what that looks like right now, just because I like talking about this stuff. We have some zucchinis and other things, which I totally wanted to grow from seed, but I just want to get a start on it. I know that happens all the time. I saved seeds from last year's tomatoes and other things too, but which you can do with tomatoes that are heirlooms, because you know the seed is going to be true to what it is. This is a tomatillo, which I've never grown, and they're so cute. Look at that beautiful flower, so I'm happy to do that. But let me show you, trying to catch too much of the mess that's going on here. Oh, these palms, we're going to get them cut down. I already told you guys, right? Bye-bye, palm. This next week, hopefully. The kale. Oh gosh. Well, you know it's way at the bottom. See, this is bolting, right? It's making its flowers. So I'm like, yeah, just get rid of it. But those are 3 plants under there, and I know it's hard to tell, but they are huge. Look at the stalk on it, the base of it. And they'll just start spreading out the sides, and you have exponentially more kale. So we had 6 of them, and I was like, we're done. So we bought new ones, and we'll start over, but they'll just keep going. You just keep cutting it back. I can cut it back again right now. I could have done that, but we were kind of tired of that variety, and we got some dinosaur kale and some Toscano kale to try out. So when I come back, hopefully everything's planted, and we have our mulch on top. We basically took all the mulch off the very top and put it in that as well as we could, because obviously at this time some gets mixed in. It's just ridiculous. So anyway, let's get planting. As the sun goes up and down, but down is good right now because it's getting a little bit warm. But anyway, so we got our little cucumbers in. They're gonna grow up this. This is just a tomato cage that I had bought. They have them at Home Depot, but the ones at Home Depot only have 3 panels, kind of like these guys. I'll show you in just a minute. These I got in my local nursery, but these were like 3 times the price. So I have 2 of them, and all I did was lay them across each other. I showed you guys this last year, and I tied them with zip ties, or just the twine that came with some other packaging, just like those little bread ties. And look at them, they're perfect. And I put these on last year. They've sat here a whole year, and they're still going strong. And so I just left it the way it is. And these guys will grow up these vines, and I would tie them if they need help, but otherwise they'll go up. So this is a bush. Actually, the bush cucumbers may not. It depends on the style. I didn't really pay attention to that because some of them are more like a little bush, right? It's called bush for the variety, but there are some like bush champion that make a little guy, but they make a lot of cucumbers for you. And then over here I'm gonna put my Persians, but they're not ready. They're so tiny in the little cells that I bought, so I'm just gonna wait for those. Zucchini. In that one pot, it had 3 plants, and I don't mind putting them that close together. They will all do just fine. What I wanted to show you guys when I came back here is obviously the tomatoes. I need 2 more of these cages so that they all look nice and the same. So these are the ones from Home Depot. They're only like $5 or $6. With the military, it's got even cheaper, and I love these guys because you can do lots of things with them. They can make a hedge for you if you want to run like vines up them. You can all kinds of stuff, right? So I really like these. Last year we used them as tomato, basically like that, to espalier tomatoes. I stuck 2 of them together side by side, opened up. And right now they're just like this rectangular, triangular shape. And we kind of made one and the other so they would fit a little nicer. I need 2 more. And I just want to show you that I water in my plants always with this stuff. This is also from Home Depot. It's just vitamin B1. And it says plus minor elements and chelating agent for root growth and reduces transplant shock. This stuff is not expensive, and I've used this for 2 seasons already. And you know what? Why mess with a good thing? Because my plants always do real well. So I don't know about this transplant shock stuff or how real that is, but I use that just a couple tablespoons in a couple gallons of water, or 1 tablespoon, whatever it is it says on there, in 1 gallon of water, and you're good to go. So I'm going to keep watering these guys. And the next thing we're going to do is put the mulch on, and we're good to go. Oh, one last thing, I forgot we have that garden bed over there, and I showed it to you guys when we were doing the project of the bench here, and you can see I've already changed things around, but my husband's just getting the mulch off of there because I think that's where we're going to put our salad. So what happens with the salad is you kind of want to keep it in a shady spot where it gets sun but not too much sun. You know, I always kept these old, when I moved to this house, these drapes were up, and the people that live here used to smoke or something. I don't know, they were horrible. So give them a quick wash, and now I use these as my shade. So what I do is I plant the lettuce, I put them in there, and once it starts getting really warm, because like right now it'll be fine, but once it starts getting in the 70s, you know, consistently and stuff, I just lay that on top of them, and it stays there. It doesn't blow away, it doesn't move. You can put a little rock or something to hold it down if you need to, and the sun goes through. As you can see, it's kind of sheer. Had no problems with pests, no problems with anything. The lettuce was going like gangbusters, so I'm gonna keep doing that. But also by putting it over here, it only gets morning sun really, and then does not get the hot sun in the afternoon. So I think that might be a better place. So that's gonna be our salad central, and this other area is just gonna be tomatoes like we've been doing. We kind of had things mixed up together last time around, so this time we're reworking it. I'm gonna keep these little peppers that overwintered, and look at that pepper. I don't know if you can see how big that one is. Corn that my son grew at school, and I just put it in here just for fun because I had artichokes here that, not artichokes, what's it called, eggplants that we never really used, and they were always so tiny. I was like, they were really pretty, but that's about it. They were ornamental for me. Look at his little corn is already getting the little stalk, and we saw corn just like this yesterday at the nursery, so I thought that's really cute because his little corn is right on par with the nursery corn that they were planting. So okay guys, so she doesn't look like much right now, but she is freshly planted, ready to go. One other thing, whenever I water directly at that plant. Like if I'm watering these 2 kales, which again are dinosaur and those are Toscano, I hit it directly at the base of the plant, and all of these plants. I don't just water this whole area for no reason, just at the base of the plant for a count of 5, a count of 10, depending on the season. Like right now, I only water Sundays, every Sunday, until around May. And then if I come out and things look dry, I'll hit it again. But normally, and this is Southern California, I live near San Diego, or in San Diego County, and that's good enough, you know. And then I start doing Sundays and Wednesdays, and then when it starts really getting hot in the summertime, I do Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and that goes for my potted plants. And you guys know I have all these citrus and figs, all my figs over there. Let's take a walk, I guess, while we're talking. And everyone, that's just how I do it, and I can do it for a count of 5, like I said, a count of 10, depending. And things are doing great. Like this little guy, she didn't do anything for us last year, really, this honey tangerine, and right now she is going off. But we had a Dancy tangerine in the front that I think I might have shown you pictures of. She was basically this size, but she was loaded down with fruit. We went to transplant her in the front yard to actually put her in the ground, and she had like no roots. So I think when people tell you, oh, that first year, take off the fruit, you don't need it, you want to develop roots, and I'm always like, yeah, okay, sure. Oh no, you need to do that, because it literally had no, like, she had the amount of roots that a plant would have, like a regular little plant that you might pull out of the ground. It was crazy. So I'm like, oh, this is not good. So I'm hitting her with B1 I'm gonna try to do it once a week until she looks a little bigger. She's good. It's just that she put out a lot of fruit and, you know, suffered for it a little bit. And these are my blueberries. And I know it looks like nothing's going on because all the flowers, the white flowers, have fallen off. And now we're just waiting for blueberries to turn blue, like this one that looks like a bird got to. So, but she had tons of flowers, just like this guy did. And then the leaves start coming in, and now they just need to turn purple. But anyway, that's a nasturtium that I just threw in there just to see what would happen, and they totally took off, and they started planting themselves other places, which is really good. That's what I want. I want to fill this whole thing in because this ground is really hard, and gophers love it, so I like to try to get in here. So I like to put in whatever I can. The strawberries started making their own runners out of the pot, and they're all filling in that area, so that's kind of fun. And again, this is a project that we began with. I did move things around a little bit. It's a little bit different right now, and this is probably what I'll keep with. The shamrocks are making their flowers that I had mentioned before. We didn't see the flower. So I guess it's a good thing I held onto this video for a couple of weeks. This stuff needs to go away, and we just added some more amend actually to this one, because the soil that we had gotten here came from a local supplier, and his soil it's so weird. It grew fine, right? But it was like kind of like clay, kind of like the dirt I already have here. But he says do not plant anything in there but vegetables. He was very adamant about that. He's like, people come back and they get so upset with me, it's only for vegetables. I'm like, okay. And it did. It would, if it could dry it out, it would make like cement. So it's really weird stuff. So right now we added amend on top, which you can get at Home Depot or anywhere, and I'm going to try to work it in because this has a lot of organic material and other things that hopefully will bust up that clay. I don't know what was in there. It was not good for pots, that's all I know. And I had mentioned something else that I was going to come show you over here, huh? Oh well, I don't remember what that was. So, so yeah, that's how it is. So we're gonna put our salad stuff in here, just like I showed you in the other area, and go from there. We're almost there. I'm gonna get these palms ripped out again, routed out all the way down to the ground, and then we're gonna put this tangerine and sweet lime. Tangerine? What's the thing called? Grapefruit. And sweet lime. Sweet lime is a kind of interesting one. It's kind of a right now it doesn't have much flavor because it's in a pot, but they're supposed to be a little bit sweet. That's kind of like an orange, but looks more like a lemon. I don't even know. It's good stuff. I remember having those when I was a kid. And this plant I actually bought on clearance at Walmart for like $12, and she's finally kicking in this year. So I nursed her back to health. Basically, she's got all kinds of greenery, and she's getting her little lemons. It's a Eureka. It was on clearance, and she looks so rough. Like literally gave me nothing last year, and that's fine. Where's the one there's a couple. There's another little one right here. Hopefully you can see one just fell off. That was just a bud that didn't take. But all right guys, we'll see you at the next one. Bye now.